see if this is up and running. Okay, I think we are back up again. Well, hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another live video. This is my second video. The first one was a little bit choppy, so I've improved on some internet and so forth, and hopefully this one will be smooth as anything. So anyway, in this video what I want to cover is basically the council elections, or why I ran for council elections twice, once in 2008, and I believe I was about 20 years old, and then I ran again in 2012. So that is sort of like the two times that I ran. Now, one of the reasons, well, a couple of reasons that I ran really was because I really wanted to help the community. And at that point in time, I thought, and I really truly believed that there wasn't that much representation as far as young people in the council. So I really noticed that, yeah, young people in the council weren't represented at all. So hence why I run. Really, when I say young people, I mean like anyone under the age of, you know, sort of 25 or 30, especially the 18 to 25 mark. So I ran in twice, once in 2012. So that was one of my success, or actually both 2012 and 2008 were quite successful for me, I thought. Once, or actually both of them I missed out just by about 100 votes, and I think given that I was you know, one of the very young, you know, one of the younger people running for council, I thought that was a great achievement. But yeah, hopefully maybe in the future I'm not going to discount it, yeah, not running again. So we'll see how we go, although obviously I'm not going to be running as a, you know, young person, although you know, I do feel like I can contribute in that space. So some of the inspirations that I had to actually run for council, I used to work for a member of parliament named Luke Donnellan, and he was a great inspiration for, you know, a young person like myself back in the day, about, you know, 5 to 7 years ago. So I worked and I did a bunch of stuff at his office, and yeah, it was just great to be involved in a spectrum of stuff. Majority of things that I did was immigration, so basically assisting people that have either come from overseas or want to come from overseas, that have had sort of hardships in many different ways. So people would come to the office and say, you know, we need help with this. I would write a letter, let's say, to another government entity or point them in the right direction. And I felt like that was a really, you know, sort of good way to assist people. And yeah, it was just I felt like I was in between the person that needed the help and also, you know, the government department or whoever it might have been that was actually helping the person out. And it just gave me some great, I don't know, it's just that really nice feeling that you get when you help people out. So I really enjoyed that, and I thought, you know, I think I can do this on a bit of a bigger scale, and hence I ran for council in both of those days. Now, when I ran for council, I didn't really have, I mean, I did have, you know, some of the things that I wanted to change in the council itself. Generally, the council was going in a semi-right direction anyway, or at least, you know, there were some things that I wanted to change, but it wasn't overly dramatic. And the way that I sort of, which I didn't really communicate that well, you know, during both of those elections. I was quite young then, and I didn't really have my marketing skills up to scratch. But there's the way that I thought about it, I didn't necessarily want to say, I want to fix this, I want to fix that. What I really wanted to do was have a bunch of filters that I say, okay, you know, there's going to be hundreds, if not, you know, more decisions to be made during these, you know, 4 years that you're there. I wanted to make those decisions, funneling them through a couple of different values, if you want to call them that. So a couple of them was, is this going to be good for residents, whatever the decision might have been. A lot of people run for council saying, oh, I want to fix this one thing, and if you do fix it, like what happens after that, really? So people really need to, like be aware of that. Is that, people run for council and, or the residents in general will say, oh, I like what this person is running for. They want to fix footpaths or whatever. Yeah, that's great. Like they probably will fix something, or at least, get it up for the council to vote, but that shouldn't be the only thing. So the way that I saw it was I wanted to really put all those decisions that have been made in the council through some sort of a filter, or that at least every decision adheres to some of the values that I hold. Like I wanted to make sure that it was good for the residents. I wanted to make sure anything that I promote would also promote good behavior in the community as well. As we know, our particular area has a little bit of, family violence. It's not good. It needs to be fixed. It also needs to promote good community values, and I think we've on the council website, I think we've got quite a few really good community values. I also wanted it to be very family oriented, because I've come from a background where family is very valued. And I just really wanted to make sure that any decision that I make in the council would have been for the greater good in a bigger sense, and also good for families. And the other couple of things that I really wanted to sort of learn and build upon is to make sure that it's good for the future. So it's not something that whatever decision we made, whether it's a park that's been built, whether it's a new road, whether it's you're making changes to local laws, putting up new buildings or whatever the case might be, it needs to be good for the future. It's not just good for those 4 years that we're there, we piss off, and then someone else comes on board and they have to deal with the crap that we've sort of put our hands to. So that's one thing that I thought was going to make the council better. And it's really hard for me to say. I don't follow it that much at the moment to say, either doing a good job or a bad job. But it is certainly good to change the dynamics of the council every now and then. I honestly think that, and I wouldn't want to be there for 20 years myself. I would, you do a term, maybe two, you sort of, you have your vision, you try and push it in a certain way, and then you let other people, build upon that vision, so, people before us had the vision of having, this as the next city, next satellite city. And we really should be pushing towards the vision of having perhaps a university here. We've got a couple of TAFEs, which is good, but we should really push towards having a university in Dandenong. We should really push towards having some more sort of apartments and high-rise buildings to build, to build the population in this particular area, and all that sort of stuff, and then try and stabilize the housing market in our area as well, so it doesn't push out all the younger people out of our city. And we certainly don't want that. So there's a lot of these things that we, that I really wanted to achieve, and maybe one day, I'm not saying I'm not going to run again, but I certainly didn't run last time, which was in 2016, I believe. There was just way too much going on at that stage, and it just didn't sort of feel like I could contribute, given that we recently got our son. And we bought a house, and there was just a whole lot of stuff that was happening that I couldn't basically sort of put my time and effort in. And if I do this in the future, I really want it to be something that I put 110% in. It's not something that I want to do half-heartedly. And the other thing is, it is very expensive. I find that it's I think both of the times that I ran, I probably spent about $20,000 in marketing material. So I mean, that's from like printed pamphlets to printed, those little ballot how to vote cards, call flutes and all that sort of stuff. And I think I was the only one that actually didn't have, I could be wrong, but I think I was one of the only ones that didn't have any business support, that didn't have any support from anyone else. I was pretty much running on my own. And I think that's because of lack of experience. Had I gone out and I suppose, marketed myself to the businesses a little bit more, told them what I was about, what I was looking at implementing. There would be a lot of people that would have probably taken me on board and said, oh, okay, I like what this guy's doing. I like where he's going, well, let's support him, because, if I get on board, I'll obviously make sure that we keep all of our local businesses happy, because it is our city and we should keep everyone in our city happy, right? And we should, at the bare minimum, try and employ as many people in our city that actually live in our city. Like, we shouldn't be going and saying, okay, Dalibor, you're going to work in the city and we'll employ someone in the ATO office from, Craigieburn or something like that. I mean, I've got no problems against people from Craigieburn, but I do feel like we're doing a lot of unnecessary driving around, unnecessary traveling, when there's enough jobs locally. It's just, it seems to be a little bit, it seems to be a little bit not as well organized, put it that way. I went to Austria a couple of years ago, and Austria and Germany do this really, really well. They've got they almost call it a village. It's not really a village, but it's like these little small satellite cities. And what they do is just basically employ people that live in that city, or that, and people don't generally drive too far. 15 to 25 minutes, I don't think is far at all, considering it takes me an hour and a half to get to work. So I thought I'd just make this quick video just to, let you know what my thoughts were when I ran for council back in the day. I thought it was relatively fair. The very first time, maybe not so much. I'm not going to go in any further detail, but it is politics after all. So I've learned a few things, and hopefully in the future we'll see how we go. Well, thank you very much for watching. This was just another video just to give you a little bit of an update. I see we are at 11:54 and we've got one viewer. So hello, one viewer. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hopefully the rest of you guys will see this when it's uploaded at whatever stage. I'm actually really keen to see how it is when it's uploaded. I'm not too sure. It doesn't look too choppy now, which is good. And I'm using my 4G upload card, so things should be improving. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and subscribe if you haven't. Put a like on this video or a dislike, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.